A broken and decrepit world where only the strongest survive. Welcome to the world of Lisa. But what is Lisa? Lisa is a very odd Kickstarter game. It started out as a Kickstarter game. It is a PC game. It is a RPG. Now, taking just looks at screenshots and that, which would most likely bring up like battle sequences, battle scenes, would probably lead you to think this is a very Earthbound-y kind of game. And to be honest, I kind of have to feel that's a little misleading, because you're not going to really get a very Earthbound kind of feel in this. It is a very weird game, but I don't think it's in the kind of direction of Earthbound. So let's talk about Lisa. First thing, a general little synopsis of the story. You play as Brad, who is in the apocalypse. Well, for some reason, all the women are dead. For some odd reason. And of course, the barbaric bad men tore the world asunder. Well, just jackasses, really. So, Brad, with his friends, basically strive to survive in the apocalypse. And one day, Brad finds a baby. A baby that's a girl in the middle of nowhere and decides to raise her. Sadly, the secret breaks out as the years go by and things go downhill as Brad goes on a quest to save his adopted daughter. Now, there's a lot of weird shit going on here. There's a lot of psychological flashback shit that's going on. And even by the end of the game, even if you play on its hardest difficulty, that gives it a little more information about what's going on. A lot of it has that kind of Five Nights at Freddy thing, where you have to really kind of Five Nights at Freddy or Dark Souls, Demon Souls, that where you have to kind of build the story based off clues that you're given. So, if you're into that kind of storytelling or theorizing with people online, you will probably get into the story of Lisa. If that's not your cup of tea, however, and you just want to be told straight out what the fuck's going on, not so much. Now, as I said, this is an RPG, and it's a pretty simplistic RPG in that sense. If you're familiar with the territory, you're not going to find a shitload of different things in here. However, a lot of stuff is renamed, however, not using many generic things like blind and poisons and such. Well, there is poison, but there's a lot of weird status elements that are just kind of humorous, like cool. I mean, cool is, well, you're cool. That's actually regenerating your health, though. So, a lot of the concepts are normal, but there are a few humorous ways that's illustrated in the game. And you do have a large party that you can only have 4 people, and Brad obviously always has to be in it, so you got 3 interchangeable characters. But there's a pretty large branch of people you can get to join your cause. And a lot of colorful people. There was, I believe, 2 areas I found out I completely bypassed in this game. So there's quite a handful of characters I missed in my original playthrough of Lisa. Especially some really bizarre mutant characters. But it's a very turn-based. It's simplistic. It does not have the slot machine. Again, like I said, don't be led to believe that this is a very Earthbound style game. It does not have the slot machine kind of mechanic going for it or anything. And there is permadeath in this game. It can happen in combat. Certain enemies, mainly certain boss enemies, can do a permadeath thing, which doesn't affect Brad, but it can affect other pet characters. And then there was a number of scenes throughout the game where you have to make tough choices between something and your party's life. And what will you choose? What will you choose? You do have gear to sort through armor and such, and all the characters can use different types of armor and things, so certain things sort certain types of that. So generally, when you start the game, you're just gonna start trying to get as many people as you can and kind of test out different ones and see which ones you like. Aside from that, it's pretty much general affair. But to be honest, the RPG elements, while fun and humorous if you're familiar with RPGs, don't get me wrong, if you're looking for a challenge, like you need shitloads of challenge, unless you're playing the hard difficulty, you're not going to really find that challenge in this game. If you want to play the normal game, and you want that to be decent, challenging, and that, the game starts out pretty challenging, because obviously you're by yourself, you're trying to figure out the mechanics of the world, your environment, learning the game, but once you get a party together, and you start rolling in that, you should be pretty good from going to the end. Aside from the beginning, I didn't need to grind or anything, really. Most resources in that had available revenues from different NPCs that, like, I needed crap loads of money. Oh, look, there's this little thing I can do here. Get, like, 50 Dory magazines, which is the currency in this world, just to know. Why, I don't know. But Dory magazines are the currency in the apocalypse, apparently. But, you will run into a lot of events that give you a lot of choices in that. And like a lot of games, this game boasts out that, your choices are going to have wide, huge consequences in the world. And I have to sadly disagree and say that's kind of empty. Not any disrespect to the creator at all. I mean, there are choices that do have effect. Like, for example, there is a choice where a whole town will be completely destroyed, depending on your choice on something. But most cases just involve your party members with a few minor variations on a few events. And to be honest, the impact in the end isn't really big in my opinion. But, obviously I'll go in that at the end of the video when we start covering spoilers and that. But I don't feel like the impact is there, like it all pours onto you, like, oh no, everything I've done in that. The art style is 2D, as you can clearly see. It's 2D, sprite pixels and that. Reminiscence of probably, I'd say, like, maybe a little slightly better Super Nintendo with that. And, again, not similar to Earthbound. The outside combat is not in a top-down view, but it's a side-scrolling platforming kind of environment where you're jumping up and down on different platforms and such. And, that's kind of mixed feelings. I didn't mind it so much, but early on it can be a little odd because that's not really much of a normal environment for an RPG. And if you accidentally fall off one of the numerous cliffs of instant death, well, you just lost everything you just did. I hope you saved recently. But overall, to be honest, I like the game. This is a game I would encourage you to look at if you want an experience or interesting story that you can talk to people and debate about your opinion on this is his and this is what's really going on, this is what's happening behind the scenes, this is why this and that. I mean, the very title of the game is a mystery itself. But I'll leave that only for you to find out. But I enjoyed the game. But on normal, I would not consider it a very in-depth RPG. It complements the story that's being told and not so much the other way around. In other words, this is more story-driven and less gameplay-driven. But it complements it. It complements it and helps make the experience more interesting. But on to spoilers and that. Obviously at this point, like I said, if you're interested in a story experience kind of thing, yeah. But anyway, going into the story, what I thought about the end and what's going on here. So, in the end, you really get fucked up. Like I said, I did not feel like there was a big impact in what your choices did. Yeah, I mean, mainly your choices are a few different lives, your party members' lives, and your arms, which they do hurt you legitimately. You lose moves, stats, and abilities and such. But in the end, it's not so drastic because the way the end of the game is designed that you would really have to suck to not be able to beat the end. I mean, it hands you shitloads of healing items, crap loads of oil to make the best fire bombs in the game and shit. I mean, it just hands you everything you need, and you just demolish the end simply. Because you're by yourself, so obviously the Cradle can't just, the several fights you have with Brad by himself would obviously be really hard if you didn't have a lot of advantages in it. So, you don't have a crap load of risks or losses during the end game, so it definitely suffers having a real final boss syndrome. It's kind of like the whole final fight with Sephiroth after the actual boss. It's a more story-oriented chain of battles instead of a legitimate challenge like in, say, Persona 3's final boss, where you would get your ass handed to you constantly or spend a long time trying to kill the boss. But the story doesn't leave an impact because of that, in my opinion, because you don't feel the consequence. I sacrificed my arms to keep my party members alive. I lost both my arms to keep my party members alive. Because, obviously, here's the dick move. And, I mean, I'm not saying this was a bad idea. It's actually an interesting idea. They get you at moments. Because you're going to mostly stick to characters you like. So you'll get these moments where these characters, either one of them or all of them, get held hostage. And you have to literally choose whether you lose an arm or they all die. These characters you've spent time leveling and designing, gearing up, just die. Gone. And it, obviously that's not something you really want to do. You don't want to lose the characters you like, you think that are useful, and that obviously that's going to be different for everyone, but in the normal sense, you don't want to legitimately just completely start a whole new party over with other characters that might be vastly underleveled by the point you're at. And the reason it really doesn't hit very well, in my opinion, is the fact you have to kill your party members at the end of the game. Like, I understand what's going story-wise, but it seems so shitty that, this guy sacrificed his arms, his limbs of his body, so these people could live. And you just killed them now. This seems really it kind of seems screwed up, though, to me. I don't know. I mean, is that just me? I mean, it could just be me, but it seems slightly screwed up. But in the end, Brad becomes one of these drugged out monsters, and it just continues to leave the title of the game a mystery. Now, I have my subjective opinions on who Lisa was, what's going on in the background versus the little information the game tells you. And it's very interesting reading different topics and discussing about what the fuck's going on. But there is supposed to be DLC for this game that's going to be about Buddy, which is the daughter that Brad raised. There's no, release schedule or anything for it yet, but it will be interesting to see what it adds to the story of the game. But in the end, I'd have to say this suffers from anticlimax syndrome by the end. I liked the story design of the end, but it seemed slightly disconnecting when you had to kill your party members. And like I said, in the gameplay, there's not a lot of challenge because it basically handed you everything you needed to get through all these fights. You had ultimate healing items, multiple throwing ultimate flame bombs to take care of the giant gang members. I mean, there was 7, 8 people in each of these groups that you fight, and then you fight the gang leader. And his fight is legitimately long, but as long as you have shitloads of healing items, which the game already handed you, on top of whatever you might have still had with you, if you haven't used anything, or have crap loads of soup and stuff, you're good. So, I mean, the end's kind of anticlimactic, but I enjoyed the experience of Lisa. And I look forward to the DLC and maybe anything else related to the game. It's an enjoyable experience, but like I said, if you're looking for the next big RPG that's going to test your might, you're not going to find it in Lisa unless you play the hard mode. And even then, you could still debate about it a bit. But in the end, I enjoyed the game. It's not very expensive. If you're into DRM-free like I am, it's available. I will try to remember to put the link down below to where it is currently available as DRM-free. And of course, it's on Steam, like any PC game is going to be, because I can't blame anyone now. That's, where a huge PC market is, so... But I enjoyed the game. I know it wasn't a complete high praise thing. There were parts that bothered me, but overall I really enjoyed it. The art, the story, and the music. There's a lot of funky music in the game too. There's a lot of funky music. The music and the visual design of the battle is really what's probably the closest thing to Earthbound with this game. But when it comes to the story and stuff, like, it's a totally different animal in that department. But in the end, I really enjoyed Lisa. I recommend checking it out if you're looking for a fun experience with some complimentary RPG mechanics. Or you can play the hard mode if you want to try and crank it up though. But aside from that, if you're looking for more in-depth gameplay, you might want to look somewhere else. In the end, that's my thoughts of Lisa. An interesting witch story that you can immensely debate about what the hell is really going on. If you have any other questions about Lisa, please leave a comment down below and I will comment back whatever your question is. Thank you for watching, and I hope you look forward to more videos. I know it's been a bit slow lately. Sadly, that overtime train is clicking in again. That damn overtime train. I have some stuff that I've been meaning to get fucking edited and I hadn't got them on yet. But we're getting there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a viewer. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you all next time.